The evening rain had just begun to fall, soft at first, then heavier, the kind that taps gently against rooftops and windows before becoming a steady downpour. The scent of wet earth filled the air, mingling with the sweet fragrance of hibiscus flowers that lined the quiet street. In the middle of that street, under the dim glow of a flickering street lamp, walked Elena. She clutched her shawl tighter against her shoulders, her heels clicking lightly against the cobblestones. There was no umbrella in her hand. She hadn't planned for the rain. Perhaps she didn't care. Her mind was elsewhere, lost in thoughts that weighed heavier than the skies above. Elena was 26, a woman of gentle spirit, but strong resolve. Her friends often said her eyes were her greatest feature, dark, soulful, and deep enough to hold secrets. But tonight, those eyes were tired, carrying the heaviness of someone who had spent too long waiting for something she couldn't name. At the far end of the street, a small cafe glowed warmly, its windows fogged with steam, its lanterns casting a golden invitation against the gray storm. She pushed the door open, the little bell above it chiming sweetly. Inside, the air was warm, thick with the scent of coffee, cinnamon, and rain-soaked clothes drying near the heater. Few people were there. An old man dozing against his newspaper, 2 students with books spread out before them, and behind the counter, Daniel. Elena's breath caught for a moment. Daniel? He was bent over, cleaning a glass, his dark hair falling into his eyes, his jawline sharp beneath the soft light. When he looked up and saw her, his lips parted in surprise before curling into a smile, the kind of smile that reached his eyes, that seemed to whisper, "I'm glad you're here." "Evening," he said, his voice carrying warmth that contrasted the chill outside. "You walked in just before the storm got worse. Lucky timing." She returned a faint smile, brushing raindrops from her shawl. "Or unlucky. I didn't bring an umbrella," he chuckled, setting the glass aside. "Then I guess you'll be stuck here with me until the rain stops. Not the worst fate, is it?" Her heart skipped, though she tried to steady her expression. She slid into a corner booth, the leather worn but comfortable, and Daniel soon followed with 2 steaming cups of coffee. "On the house," he said, placing one before her. "You look like you could use it." Their fingers brushed lightly as she took the cup. That small contact sent a spark through her unexpected electric, leaving her pulse a little unsteady. Elena had known Daniel for nearly a year. He had opened the cafe after leaving the bustle of the city, trading skyscrapers for silence. She too had come to this small town searching for quiet after her father's passing. Life had felt too loud, too demanding, and the city too cruel in its constant rush. The cafe had become her refuge, the place where she could write in her notebook, sip tea, and watch the world move slowly outside its windows. Over months, conversations had bloomed between them. At first, casual, about the weather, about the town, then deeper. She learned he loved music, but played only when no one was listening. He learned she used to dream of painting, though she hadn't touched a brush in years. Slowly, they had carved a space for each other in their lives, though neither had dared to step beyond the border of friendship. Until tonight. "Rough day?" Daniel asked, sliding into the seat across from her. Elena stirred her coffee, watching the dark liquid swirl. "Just a heavy one. Some days feel like they carry more weight than others, you know?" He nodded, his eyes fixed on her, soft but searching. "I know." They sat in silence for a while, the kind of silence that wasn't uncomfortable but full of unspoken things. Full of words hovering at the edge of lips, but afraid to leap. The rain outside grew louder, thrumming against the windows. "Elena," Daniel began slowly, "do you ever feel like life keeps waiting for you to decide, but you never know if you're ready?" She looked up, startled. The question felt too close, too sharp against her own thoughts. "Yes," she admitted softly. "All the time." His eyes lingered on hers, and for a moment, the air between them shifted. It was heavier, warmer, charged with something neither could name but both could feel. Whispers shared, summer memories, fears confessed. At some point, Elena realized she was laughing, really laughing, the kind of laugh that loosened the tightness in her chest. And when she laughed, Daniel's eyes softened even more, as if watching her joy was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. As the cafe emptied and the rain eased, Daniel stood and fetched an old guitar from behind the counter. "Don't laugh," he said, strumming clumsily at first. She smiled, leaning forward, her chin resting on her palm. "I'd never laugh. Play." And so he did, a quiet melody, simple but hauntingly beautiful. His voice low, uncertain but sincere, wrapped around her like the rain, like the warmth of the room. Elena felt something stir inside her, something tender, something dangerous. It was the kind of feeling she had avoided since her father's death, when she had promised herself she would not grow too attached, would not risk losing someone again. But here it was, rising in her chest, impossible to ignore. When the last note faded, she whispered, "That was beautiful." His gaze caught hers again, intense, lingering. "I only play for people who matter." Her breath caught. She looked down, unable to hold the weight of his words. By the time she left, the rain had stopped, leaving the world glistening, washed clean. Daniel escorted her home. Silence lingered, then parted. "Elena," he said softly, "there's something He hesitated, then shook his head with a small smile. "Never mind. Good night." She wanted to stop him, to say, "Tell me, please, tell me." But the words caught in her throat. Instead, she whispered, "Good night, Daniel." He lingered a moment, then turned away, his figure fading into the quiet street. Elena stood there long after he left, her heart full, her soul trembling with the ache of wanting and the fear of it. Days passed, but the memory of that night clung to her like the scent of rain. She thought of his gaze, his voice, the way her name sounded softer when he said it. She tried to bury it beneath work, beneath routine, but it returned every evening when she passed the cafe, glowing warmly against the night. And then came the night of the festival. The town lit up with lanterns, drums beating, children laughing. Elena almost didn't go, but something pulled her there, perhaps the hope of seeing him. She found him near the fountain, talking with friends, lantern light painting his face in gold. When their eyes met, the noise of the festival seemed to fade. He walked, smile small, yet full. "You came," he said. Surrounded by music, they shared a quiet world. "Elena," Daniel said finally, his voice steady, but his eyes betraying the storm beneath. "I can't keep pretending." That night at the cafe, "I should have told you. I care about you, more than I should, more than I can hide." Her heart pounded. She wanted to speak, but her throat felt tight. Tears stung her eyes, unbidden. He stepped closer, his hand hovering near hers but not quite touching. "If this is too much, tell me. I'll stop. But if there's even a chance you feel the same." She cut him off with a whisper. "I do." And just like that, the dam inside her broke. The grief, the fear, the loneliness, all of it poured out, replaced by something raw and real. She reached for his hand, and when their fingers finally intertwined, it felt like coming home after years of wandering. The drums beat louder. Fireworks bloomed in the sky. And beneath the lantern light, Elena leaned into Daniel as he pulled her close. Their lips met gentle at first, then deeper, as if sealing all the words they had left unsaid. The world roared with celebration around them, but in that moment, it was only them two souls who had waited too long, finally brave enough to choose each other. And though life would still bring storms, losses, and fears, Elena knew this. She had found something worth risking again, someone worth holding on to, someone worth whispering to, even when the rain fell